Hello, welcome back. I'm Jaydeep Abhishek Disira, an undergraduate of the JAMA Institute for Advanced Technology. Welcome back with the question series of Database Management System 1, and today I'm here with the question set number 45. Here is the same question scenario that we had in the question set number 44, and as the first question, all the teachers in the school teach one subject or several subjects. Create a table called teacher has subject to store information on all the subjects that teachers teach in the initial stage of this software. The principal decides to store the details of the teachers who teach only the main subjects of grade 9. Follow the instructions below to create this table. Use a DDL query related to this table. And as a second question, it is necessary to add a column named ID to the table named teacher has subject, which is created to store all the subjects stored by the teachers. The column you add is with the primary key, and your team leader has said that auto increment is mandatory. Name the DDL query required for that. Use that query to add that column to the teacher has subject table. And then as a third question, it is compulsory for all students in grade 9 of school to learn all the major subjects. Create a table named student has subject to store that information. To do so, follow the instructions below. Use DDL query to create this table. And also the last question, students need to add a column named ID in the table named student has subject, which is created to store all the subjects that they are learning. Your team leader says that the column you add must be a primary key and that column must be auto increment. Create the required DDL query. Add that column to the student has subject table using that query. So then let's move to SQL software. So then as the first question, we have to create a table called teacher has subject. So then let's create the table. We can use the keyword use, and inside the green message mark we can give the database name as run by my school DB, and then last semicolon. We use this to tell that we need to create this table in the database called run by my school DB. So then let's create the table using the create table, and then we can use the keyword if not exceeds, and then we give the relevant name as teacher has subject, and then we give the brackets, and inside the brackets and inside the green message mark we mention the relevant column names as the subject ID column with the data type int, and we are not needed to enter a length here, and then the not null keyword, and then comma, and then inside the green message mark we can give the next column name as teacher ID, and there too we can give the data type as int and make it not null, comma, and then as we can see the subject ID and teacher ID are foreign keys from the subject and teacher table. Let's make the foreign keys. We can use the keyword foreign key, and then inside the brackets, inside the grey message mark we mention the column that we need to join with the relevant tables. We need to join the subject ID column, we need to join the subject ID column, and then after that we give the references. We use the subject table, and inside the brackets we give the relevant column name that the subject tables joined with the subject ID table. So then we give the column name as subject ID, and then comma, and again we can use the foreign key keyword, and inside the brackets, inside the green message mark we can give the column name as teacher ID, and then we use the references keyword, and then we mention the foreign table as the teacher table and the relevant column of that table inside the green message mark as the teacher ID, and then at last after the brackets the semicolon. So then let's execute this query too and refresh the page, and here we can see a table called teacher has subject has created. We can see that the teacher ID and subject ID has got the foreign keys with the subject table and the teacher table. So then let's move to the next question. In the second question, it is necessary to add a column called ID to the table named teacher has subject, which is created to store all the subjects stored by the teachers. The column you add is with the primary key, so then we have to give the primary key to it, and your team leader has said that auto increment is mandatory, so we have to go to auto increment also. Name the DDL query required for that. Use that query to add that column to the teacher has subject table. So then let's type the relevant DDL query. Here too we can use the keyword use, and we can mention the relevant database name as Run my school DB, and then the semicolon, and then here we can use the alt keyword as we have to update this teacher has subject table. So we use the keyword alt table, and then inside the grievance in mark we use the table name as teacher has subject table, and then we can use the keyword add column to add a new column to teacher has subject table, and then inside the grievance in mark we can give the id, it means the column name as id, and then we can give the data type as int, and then the not null keyword, and then let's make it the primary key, and then at last let's give the auto increment also, and then at last a semicolon. So then let's execute this query. Here we can see a new column has created with the name id, and we can see that the primary key too has assigned to that column. So then let's move to the third question, and there too we have to create a new table as student has subject table. So then let's again go to the query tab and let's type the DDL query required for that. And here too we can use the keyword use, and inside the grievance in mark we can mention the database name as Run my school DB, and then the semicolon, and then we can use the keyword create table as we have to create a table, and we can use if not exists keyword create table if not exists, and then the table name as student as subject, and then inside the brackets inside the grievance in mark we can give the column name as subject id, the data type as int. Here too we are not needed to enter a length to the data type called int, and then the not null keyword, comma, and then again inside the grievance into mark we can give the next column name the student id column with the data type int, and let's make it not null, comma, and then in the table it has told that the subject id and student id are foreign keys, and the subject id is foreign with the subject table, and the student id column is foreign with the student table. So then let's make the foreign keys. We can use the keyword called foreign key, the brackets, and inside the brackets and inside the grievance in mark we can give the column name as subject id, and then after that we can use the keyword references, and then again inside the grievance mark we can mention the table name as subject, and then inside the brackets we can mention the relevant column as subject id, and then comma, and again we can use the keyword called foreign key, and then inside the brackets we can give the grievance mark, and inside the grievance mark we can give the column name as student id column, and we can give the references to it. Inside the grievance mark we give the table name as student table, and inside the brackets inside the grievance mark we mention the relevant column name as student id column, and then at last the semicolon. So then let's execute this query and then refresh the page, and here we can see a new table called student has subject has created with the subject id and student id columns which have the foreign keys with the subject table and the student table. So then let's move to the fourth question, and there it tells the students need to add a column named id in the table named student as subject, which is created to store all the subjects they are learning. Your team leader says that the column you add must be a primary key, so then we have to set the primary key to it, and that column must be auto create the required DDL query, add that column to the student has subject table using that query. So then here too we have to update the student has subject table, so then we can use the alt keyword here. So then let's type the DDL query. So then here we can use the use keyword, and inside the grievance mark we can give the database name as DBMS school DB, and after that the semicolon, and here we can use the keyword alter table, and then inside the gradation mark we give the table name as student has subject table, and we can use the keyword add column as we need to add a new column, and then inside the gradation mark we can give the column name as id, and then the data type as int, and we give the not null, and also let's make it the primary key, and also auto include, and then at last the semicolon. So then let's execute this query too. Here we can see a new column called id has created in the student has subject table as the primary key. So then in the question number 45 we discuss about the creation of a database using DDL query and also the alt keyword. So then let's meet to the next question set number 46, and bye for now.